script, basically. It's like, I think probably what it comes down to is, does the story work, or can you just ignore the inconsistency and carry on? Because after all, plenty of inconsistencies, lots and lots and lots of
timey-wimey.
and the point is to have fun. So, so fundamentally, did I have fun with the new series? Yeah, mostly I did. I didn't quite manage to have fun with the last episode, because, to coin a phrase, to me it was a big bunch of stuff. But I did like the idea of there is a spoiler issue here, though, isn't there, with the episode that recent? So but I liked Lux, and I liked I really liked the Well, the sort of sequel to Midnight.
Right. I have an idea. Let's play a wee game. Let's go through episode by episode, and we'll each give like a really quick sort of response, no more than 20 seconds. All right. So let's see. I can see on my screen myself on one side, then Amy, then Tristan. So we'll go in that order. And let's start with Christmas. Let's start with Joy to the World. Okay. Lots of fun, really good straight up politics, dinosaurs, a bit silly and a bit imaginative. I really enjoyed that one.
Really, really liked the I think it's almost like the concept was really good, but they didn't spend enough time with it. But that might be, just my feeling generally. It's like, spend more time with this concept.
I really liked it. Especially the idea of the episode suddenly having a sojourn for a year with Anita. It's not 10 out of 10 for me, but I had fun with it, and I enjoyed watching it on Christmas Day. So
you say I wanted more with the Time Hotel, and
yes, I think you're right. I think the
Steph Diwali as Anita was fantastic, very watchable in that one.
Yeah, I think the conclusion of the bomb plotline, it didn't satisfy me, but hey, whatever.
This is a Vectron high security briefcase.
Absolutely, yes.
Three press guy joke for those amongst us. The Robot Revolution, I thought it was okay. It was one of those lesser companion introductory things, probably with Partners in Crime. It didn't really I liked it well enough, but I didn't love it. I didn't dislike it either. It had some good stuff and some bad stuff, but it didn't all knock together satisfactorily for me.
Loved it. Polish. It's probably all I need.
Big, bright and colourful, a bit like a cartoon. I like that. Didn't love it, but as an aside, people will have complained about the alleged politics, etc. They haven't read the 1993 comic Evening's Empire, which I suspect Russell T Davies has, which was saying the same thing much more strongly 30 years ago, before woke existed. Whatever.
Amy's reference to Polish did remind me that little robot was actually the Lynx, the little Roomba. I really like that element. It's a lovely touch. Lux. So another episode 2, but like big screen, epic finale vibes. Didn't all knock together as satisfactorily as, say, The Devil's Cord, but it looked absolutely stunning. And animation, the 1950s set. I guess it wasn't. I was expecting a straight animation, but it took the whole meta dive into sort of like various sort of between screen universes. And I quite liked it. Yeah, I really liked it.
I really liked it, and Did I like it more than the Devil's Call? You see, I kind of really like both of them, but you know, call back to classic animation, fantastic. The bit where he becomes sort of real and utterly hideous, and the kind of fourth wall breaking meta adventures. Very creative.
Yes, I liked it for most of the same reasons. I think this is the thing. I'm saying that I liked but didn't love the episode so far, and I think we'll see if that continues to be the case.
Also, we're still here.
Sorry, I've gone silent because I feel like I've missed an in-joke.
The audience.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah. See, I can remember stuff from 2001. I can't remember stuff from 3 weeks ago. I'm getting old. Yes. Quite
right. Sorry, did you say what you felt about Lux, Tristan, or was I just?
Oh, sorry. I really enjoyed it, and it's much the same reasons. I love the look of it, the color of it. I liked Alan Cumming, his vocal performance. And I'm not what's the word? I'm not an expert on 50s fashions, but I thought the costumes were very good.
Oh, yeah, beautiful. Okay, The Well, which might have been a sequel to something. I'm sure nobody has spoiled it for you on the internet. Because they're much too polite on the internet to do that. Yeah, I really liked it. I really liked the inclusion of a signing character, which we've had before, but now as a much bigger part of the story. I liked that the returning monster wasn't a replica of the one we'd seen before, but there were enough similarities to read into it. I liked how it was lit. I liked the scenery. I loved the tension, the pacing. It kind of fell apart for me in kind of the last big scene. But up until that point, everything else was just really fantastic. One of the season's better showings.
Yep, I'm with you there. I think I still prefer Midnight, but it's very strong. But yeah, the last scene, I was just like, you just went against this episode's internal logic. But it was probably just supposed to represent paranoia. It doesn't necessarily have to be, read as, actually. So it's probably just paranoia. If they've decided that it's not, though, then it sort of kind of makes the whole episode not make sense.
I take it you're referring to the possibility that the entities got to the spaceship. Yeah, that irritated me slightly because it's a horror movie cliche, and it's a cliche of a cliche. But that's the only thing I didn't like. I really liked I forget the character's name, but the lady with the gun who was a very good shot. Because the one thing that I still don't have an issue with Midnight is that it all comes down to a character sacrificing themselves. And I didn't feel that it had been explained why I didn't believe this person was going to kill themselves to save other people. I didn't feel it had been built up sufficiently. Whereas I did feel that the woman who saves the day in The Well, I had a better sense of her as a character and her motivation for doing so. And I like the fact that it had some of the spirit of Midnight without just being a copy of Midnight. The fact that this time it was different, and the possibility that this entity just likes playing with people. It's that evil. It just likes, and I like the reveal of it being the planet Midnight. I thought that was done very well in a way that.
Seeing you brought it up, the I don't know if this is a word, but heroic sizing of suicide was something Davies did in Wild Blue Yonder as well, and I found it pretty distasteful there as much so here. Just a really sort of awkwardly stupid kind of choice.
Yes,
It felt in the well. It felt particularly romanticized when it was paired with Murray Gold's music. Yeah, didn't care much for that choice at all.
no, I see what you mean. Certainly romanticized, and it's a quick way out of a difficult narrative situation.
What's next? Lucky Day. Yeah. So I really like that. I didn't realize it was Dr. Light until about halfway through, because Millie Gibson just carries it so beautifully, so phenomenally, and the focus is on the twists. I mean, looking at the Conrad story on paper, from one level, it looks like it might have been a very preachy, sort of on the nose political thing, but it is unpacked so beautifully in the pacing. I think that was Pete McTeague wrote that one. Really, really well done. I really enjoyed it. Judy's definitive speech at the end, one of his great moments. And I think that he's only in it for like 3 minutes, or well, there's 2 minutes at the start and 3 at the end, but those 3 at the end are, it's like his presence is all over the Amy.
Really big issue episode of, as you say, they're definitely being outwardly political, and it's one of the things that makes me respect Doctor Who, and also I think why it's still successful after it's been going for, how long has it been going? Forever. It keeps exploring new stuff. I was it's obviously sort of like fake news and that sort of thing, and but also you have to wonder with the character of Conrad how much he's eaten his own hype, because he's sort of like, I think he really believes his own own stuff here.
Sort of portrait of narcissism. I can't recall the actor's name. I know that I'd forgotten, but he was
Jonah Howard King.
Yes, that sounds right. And I had seen him in a series called The World on Fire, a World War II drama, where he's more or less the lead character, and I'm really impressed because he's so repulsive in that episode of Doctor Who. Despite having enough of an innocent quality that he's not immediately repulsive, he's actually seems likable. And it's interesting because I can appreciate what the actor did, even if a lot of the time I couldn't bear to look at him after a certain point.
But that's that shows how good he was. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of ways how real his unpleasantness felt.
The sort of the reveal and everything from that moment, and what Ruby had to go through was like utterly revolting, and all too real. We all have read of or know of somebody that suffered like huge deceptions like that. It really sort of, it really got me inside. It really sort of punched the stomach. The story in the engine. I'm not gonna hog the mic, because I remember one of my first thoughts was, this is as good as Vincent and the Doctor. And I didn't say, no, actually, this is better than Vincent and the Doctor. That is up there. And as well, it also feels weirdly sort of transparent. Like, okay, yes, it's a work of genius, but it lays out how you too could make a work of genius. It is entirely, it kind of says it's entirely plausible you can make a story as great as this, and this is how it's done. Yeah, over to you, Nate.
I loved it. Not more than Vincent and the Doctor, but then I'm really like strongly connected to Van Gogh in terms of, just really admire that artist, and also, relate on the whole mental health stuff and all that. But I really enjoyed the story and the engine, and the first watch through, I was just really confused. The second watch through, I was like, ooh. And I think I think there's so much you could get out of it. There's so much in it that you could just watch it over and over and just keep getting new things out of it. And I love the story engine in the heart that was sort of like a brain, but it's a tree, and its design. I thought that was some beautiful, just beautiful design work there.
I'm going to single out one moment in a way that's quite uncharacteristic, because I don't watch Doctor Who for the visuals, but there is the moment when they look outside and see the. It's the first time in Doctor Who I think I've ever sort of thought, good Lord, the quality of and the imagination of the image that I was being shown, with the engine sort of on the spider's legs and the it was. Oh, and all of that connected to a story set in one room. It's a fascinating episode.
I was just going to add I can't think of her name, but if you go and watch my dumpster floor video on it, or do a bit of research on the animator on Story in the Engine, it's well worth checking out her website and having a look around for other pieces of the level of style and beauty that are under. I think it's Augusto. I'll have a look at that. I'll Google for that in a minute. What came next then? Song contest. Okay.
Oh, Andy's frozen.
Oh, I hope that's not his opinion.
It's too much for this world.
I'll be back in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Amy, you said that you were related to Barry Letts. Is that particularly distant, or?
Yeah. Family splits,
it still counts. I once met a lady called Earp, and I said, any relation to Wyatt? And she said, yeah. It does happen after all.
Mm-hmm.
But, Andy.
Yay, you're back.
Hi, am I back this time? Oh, great. Okay, I just remember sort of bringing up Interstellar Song Contest, and then just laughing maniacally. And at that point, I got shut off. Mm-hmm. Was that a political statement yet? No, the whole thing is, I refuse to read any political message in the Interstellar Song Contest on account of feeling it is just so badly composed that it makes absolutely no sense. Asterisks except Duggadoo, which is easily the best thing about it. Mercifully over as quickly as you like it to be. I think it's Amy next.
It was okay. I was insanely excited about the appearance of a certain guest star, and I was hoping that would be explained, and it has as yet not been.
Who was that? Graham Norton? Ryan?
No.
Well, I assumed it was simply an indication that at some point the government had decided that his cultural importance was so extraordinary that it had to be preserved for the future.
With Graham Norton, I liked the whole why did I sell my likeness for perpetuity? But
I
no,
was going to.
a certain vision that the Doctor had, and I'm
Sorry.
trying not to be too spoilerific for people who don't know.
Yes. Yeah.
Of a very, very early
yes
companion.
I thought you meant the bloke, the other presenter of the thing.
Nah, not really.
No. Okay, good.
I have a whole thing to say about what Amy's alluding to, so maybe.
Yes. No, fair enough.
I'll definitely make it into my videos. Yeah.
The thing is, I was going to say that I really enjoyed it, and then I remembered the stuff when you were talking, Andy. I remembered all the stuff I didn't enjoy. It's, I mean, the horns. I felt was just one of many unsubtle little details, but
I'm a Hellion and my name is Kid.
I mean, sorry, you're sending me to a bad place. But I like the funny bits, and I like the stuff. The fact that a lot of it was in corridors, and the two blokes who were able to do stuff. Sorry, that's as sophisticated as I can sound on this one. I think this is where the season started to have bits that made me sort of slap my forehead slightly. But I'm sure I make other people slap their foreheads, so who am I to criticize?
I saw a lot of movement and fandom of this being the episode where people were like, oh, nah, Doctor Who's not for me anymore. And I didn't quite understand why that. I know I felt it was an incredibly bad episode, but I didn't understand why that was kind of the tipping point. Maybe it's just people that kind of should stepped away from Doctor Who a while ago and given it a little bit of a rest.
It wasn't that bad. It was okay. Like, it wasn't exceptionally good, but it was like probably pretty average, really.
I know there was one commentator who said that it was the revelation at the end when X turns into X squared.
I see. I enjoyed that bit.
I wasn't wild.
I like the way that they kind of completely distract you from that person, and then right at the end going like, oh yeah, they were there, weren't they?
Yeah, right. So I didn't love it, but I didn't object to it either. And I think, as Andy was saying, the reason that some people, if a person citing that as a reason to step away, I think they already wanted to step away. They just hadn't realised it yet, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if they sat through 3 years of Chris Chibnall, like, what's wrong with them? I didn't, and look at me, I'm fine, well adjusted. Okay, Wish World. So I enjoyed it well enough. I realized part of that was naivety in my account as to what came next, but it had all, much like The Legend of Ruby Sunday last year, it had all the hallmarks of a really well put together part 1 of 2, sort of ascending action. Lovely seeing Millie Gibson back again, there's, as I said in my video, there's kind of like a sociology of Doctor Who universe. The Whoniverse concept feels properly realized at this point. So taken in isolation, yes, I quite enjoyed Wish World, and the sort of the whole the Doctor is straight now. He's a hetero. You okay, kids? It's fun.
I enjoyed Wish World, and particularly its strange surrealism, and we're talking about potential Discworldy related episodes. I could possibly put Wish World into that category.
I don't know. It had little bits that stirred the sleeping pedant, and like I said earlier, I try not to indulge that. My confession would be that there were times when the RTD was running the show originally, times when I really didn't enjoy it at all, and it was usually the finales, which I felt sometimes the latter finales tended to be lots of things all crammed into a space, and they didn't necessarily work. And because of that, I wasn't necessarily surprised that I didn't love the pre-finale this time. So I made allowances for it. I had things I liked in it. The cast. Andy, if I can ask you your point about point you made about the Doctor and Belinda waking up in bed together, and yes, there's the conspicuous thing of a character who apparently attracted to men being in bed with a woman. But do you think it would have? Because I thought about it, and had it been any other Doctor in bed with their companion, I kind of feel like it probably would have felt just as unreal, because maybe with one or two exceptions, that's not supposed to happen in Doctor Who. It's inherently, you know, that this is unreal, that this is happening, and that's not me waving away the fact that Ncuti's version of the Doctor is clearly attracted to men. I just wondered to what extent whether it hinges entirely on that factor, or whether or not it's just the fact that the Doctor in bed with his companion is something that tells you that this world isn't real.
I actually hadn't thought about that, but you're entirely right. Despite the McGann of it, the Billy Piper, the Rogue, those are still feel like kind of anomalies, and by the sort of the queerness of Ncuti's Doctor acts as an extra layer to make that opening of Wishworld much more joyful.
Funny enough, I've just remembered there was a late 90s Doctor Who magazine comic strip in which Paul McGann's Doctor wakes up in bed with Grace Holloway, and it's all been a dream. Only obviously he's woken up in a world that isn't real, right? Mm-hmm. Sorry, I love a coincidence and a similarity.
Sorry, Luke has just, and I have to, it definitely plays on it with the homophobia bit in Unit. Luke, could you just remind me of what that is, or maybe it'll come to me?
Oh, that's the bit where the Doctor comments while he's in the Unit office. He comments on somebody being a beautiful man, and the man reacts angrily to that.
Oh, yeah.
So no, that as Luke says, that's definitely there later on in the episode. So it's despite what I was saying, it's certainly present.
But that's presumably because Cameron is homophobic.
Conrad.
Conrad.
Yeah. That's clearly the tied in with the non-existence of disabled people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unit was something else I wanted to mention about Wishworld, and it is it's a reprise of the end of last season, but how well that those Unit characters are have been built to this point quite quickly. Think about it, and of course already for the spin-off series, the war between the land and the sea. Sorry, did everybody speak on Wishworld? Yeah. So the reality war. Okay. Bone Beast's cool. Guest stars. How many? The late episode guest star. Pretty cool. Essentially, it was a whole. Yeah. I feel like it was a whole bunch of stuff just thrown at the wall. I'm still making sense of it. I'm still finding it a pain to rewatch, a slog to get through. In some ways, I'm not exactly sure why, but I prefer Interstellar Song Contest to it. I think it might be something to do with, because Interstellar Song Contest was over quickly.
And it has a a clear idea.
Yes, it's a very simple. It's a much simpler, too simple but it knows what it wants to do. Whereas Reality War is a bit.
Reality War is there are a lot of ideas in here. I'm not sure they all go together.
See, if you'd asked me 5 minutes after it had ended on Saturday night, I would be quite willing to tell you at length all the ways in which it hurt. But I sort of got over that a bit because
you got through it on Saturday, did you? It was
yeah, I mean,
I
did text the words "make it stop" to a friend halfway through, but
Amy, you remember Saturday night after our caption meeting? I said, "Right, I'm off to watch Doctor Who now. Ooh, it's gonna be great." 6 a.m. Monday morning.
Like I say,
3 minutes to go.
Well, I do feel sorry for you, Andy, particularly having to make a video about it because, what do you say?
Yeah, it's such a different thing because I'm not watching it as a viewer now. I'm watching it as a producer, and I wonder if I was just watching the last 2 series. If I'd just been watching it as a viewer, would I have sort of said, right, that's it, I don't need to see this anymore? I certainly would be looking at it differently. And now I'm questioning, do I want to make more episodes if the show comes back? I think if I was just a viewer, that would be kind of it for me. Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
Daily Blase, thank you very much for coming by and for hanging out and commenting. You have a good rest and restore, my friend. And I look forward to seeing you through the week. It's worth a plug for Daily Blase's Friday live stream, which is one of my favorite things in UK politics. It's called Friday Frolics. It's on 5 o'clock, and it's a very light, like a variety show of political discussion. And it's a really good sort of place to sort of process everything that's happened and also chill out and have fun with a warm community. So, I'll have to put a link for that in the comments. And if anybody has any other ideas for links I can put in the comments or things to mention, please drop them in the chat. So Reality War, anything else to say on that?
All right, I find
you don't have to. I don't want to
like
take
a challenge.
I
was going to find something that I liked about it. But right, so I the whole series I have liked the character of Belinda. I don't think that's necessarily because of the characterization. I think it's because of the actress. I think she's done a really good job, and I like the idea of a nurse being. A few years ago, I had a protracted health issue, nothing terribly serious, but it meant I saw nurses twice a week, and it reminded me, I shouldn't have needed reminding, that, yes, doctors are part of the health service, but a hell of a lot of nurses are too. And lots of them are extremely useful people, and that it's good that Martha was a doctor, but it's maybe a shame that we've had to wait this long for a nurse to be a companion. And so I like the character of Belinda. I didn't like the fact that one of the lead actors in the show was stuck in a box for the finale. But I know I'm not alone in that. Stuck in a box holding a baby. But her final scenes, even if we don't like where the character has ended up, we may or may not, I thought she delivered them with sort of conviction and warmth, which likewise Shooty, right? And I do fundamentally like I was always the Doctor's going to regenerate. I'm much more into the idea that he does it to save a single life than the universe. Obviously both are valuable, but I'm more of a Case of Androzani fan than a something much more epic. So I like the idea that Shooty's regeneration was just trying to save one life, one innocent life. And I also liked the guy playing Conrad no less vile, but he played the character with a sort of innocence this time. So you could imagine when he's interacting with Mrs. Flood that there's sort of almost like the mum he wished he'd had kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, I liked that was toned down a bit this time around. Yeah, that's a good point.
So the Conrad thing, I kind of get the, even more in this one that he does believe his own hype, and that he strongly believes he is in the right, which is often the cause of great evil when people think they're very, very right and they don't question it.
Indeed. Another definition I read once that I've always liked because it's very practical is evil is when you mistake wanting something for having a right to it. That's David Gemmell, writes books about swords. And axes. But yeah, so I could find positive things to say. I overall didn't enjoy it, but
I didn't quite understand the whole baby thing.
I didn't try to understand the whole baby thing. I didn't feel the need to try and understand.
I think that's sort of where it fell down for me. Is that it's like I'm not following this baby thing.